In the high-stakes world of global music, a sudden unexplained silence is often louder than a stadium-filling scream. For nearly a decade, we watched a young girl from Norway captivate the world with a voice that seemed to belong to a ghost from the jazz age, a soul too old for its body. But in 2025, the music stopped. Angelina Jordan, the prodigy who once commanded billions of views and standing ovations from the harshest critics, went completely dark. There were no social media updates, no paparazzi sightings, and no new releases. For months, the industry buzzed with questions: had she walked away, or was something more concerning happening behind the scenes? The mystery of her disappearance wasn't a PR stunt. It was the first sign of a high-stakes power struggle that would redefine the very definition of a modern pop star. To understand why a global star would go quiet at the absolute height of her fame, we have to look at the legal tremors that shook her camp throughout late 2024 and early 2025. Reliable reports began to circulate regarding a silent war between Jordan and her former representation at major labels. While the specific details remained shielded by ironclad non-disclosure agreements, insiders suggested that serious accusations surfaced regarding the direction of her career and the total ownership of her creative output. In a world where young female artists are often treated as mere products to be packaged and sold, Angelina appeared to be fighting for the right to be a person first and a brand second. She essentially chose to dismantle her own momentum, walking away from massive contracts, a move many industry veterans called career suicide. This wasn't just a standard contract dispute, it was a battle for her artistic soul that led her to go completely independent in an industry that rarely rewards such defiance. The offing of her old persona was a calculated risk that left fans in the dark for over a year, wondering if the girl who sang with the legends had been permanently erased by the corporate machine. But walking away from a multi-million-dollar machine came with a terrifying price tag that she's only now beginning to pay on the world stage. By the time early 2026 arrived, the silence was finally broken, not by a glossy press release, but by the announcement of a residency at the Westgate Las Vegas. However, this wasn't the typical glitzy, overexposed Vegas comeback we're used to seeing. Reports from the ground described a fortress-like atmosphere surrounding the venue. The no-recording policy was enforced with a level of intensity rarely seen in the modern, smartphone-obsessed era. Fans were required to lock their devices in secure pouches, creating a vacuum of digital information that only fueled the public's curiosity. Why was a singer, who built her entire fame on digital virality and YouTube views, now so seemingly terrified of being filmed? Some investigative outlets suggest it was a strategic move to prevent leaks of her new, unpolished sound before it was perfect, while others believe it was a desperate attempt to maintain total control over an image that had been managed by others for far too long. The atmosphere inside those shows was reported to be haunting, with Jordan performing barefoot once again, but with a presence that felt more like a warning than a greeting. These secret shows revealed a version of Angelina that was unrecognizable to those who knew her as the barefoot girl from television, sparking rumors of a total internal rebirth. When the 2026 album Secret of the Soul finally dropped, the transformation was undeniable and to some, quite shocking. Gone were the safe, nostalgic jazz covers that defined her youth and won her the world's heart. In their place was a haunting, cinematic soundscape that explored themes of isolation, betrayal, and the SHT show of fame. The lyrics hinted at the immense challenges she faced during her hiatus, using metaphors that many fans interpreted as a direct commentary on the industry's attempt to bottle her talent for profit. Critics have been sharply divided. Some hail it as a masterpiece of independent pop that rivals the depth of Adele or Lana Del Rey, while others worry the music is too dark for the mainstream. She's no longer the girl singing for approval, she's a woman singing for survival. This shift has forced the industry to ask if the Queen of Pop title is even something she wants anymore, or if she's aiming for a legacy that's much more permanent and perhaps more dangerous. The album didn't just top charts, it started a conversation about what we expect from child stars once they grow up and stop being cute. But as the music climbed the charts, a darker rumor began to circulate about the people pulling the strings in her inner circle. Every great story has a shadow, and for Angelina that shadow is the constant speculation regarding her management and the gatekeepers of her career. In 2026, rumors began to intensify that her path to independence has resulted in a state of total isolation. Some industry veterans have raised eyebrows at the family-first management style, suggesting that the walls built to protect her might also be keeping her from the resources she needs to stay at the top. There have been whispers of conflicts within her team and a refusal to work with outside producers who don't fit the inner circle mold, leading to what some call a us-against-the-world mentality. Is she a visionary leader of her own brand, or is she being shielded to a point that could eventually lead to her fading away into obscurity? This level of control is a double-edged sword. It protects the artist's vision, but it can also become a prison. Sources close to the production of her latest tour claim that every single detail, from the lighting to the stage floor temperature, is controlled with an almost obsessive level of precision, leaving many to wonder if she is ever truly free. This level of control is a gamble that has ended the careers of many legends who came before her, and the cracks are starting to show. We've seen this pattern too many times to count. The child star collapse is almost a tradition in the entertainment industry. From public breakdowns to tragic OD incidents, the road from child prodigy to adult icon is littered with the careers of those who couldn't handle the transition. Angelina, however, seems to be attempting a different, much more difficult route. By avoiding the typical party scenes and refusing to feed the tabloid machine with cheap scandals, she's maintained a level of dignity that is incredibly rare in the 2026 landscape. But the pressure is mounting to a breaking point. The expectations of a global fan base, the weight of being her own CEO, and the constant scrutiny of her personal life are enough to break even the strongest spirit. She survived the first wave of fame, but the second wave, the one that determines if you're a legend or a footnote, is only just beginning. As the accusations of being difficult to work with continue to grow, the music world is watching to see if she will remain a steady force, or if the pressure of being perfect will finally take its toll. The question isn't whether she has the talent to survive, but whether she has the internal strength to keep the industry's poison out of her head for good. As we look at the landscape of pop music in 2026, Angelina Jordan stands as a massive, unavoidable anomaly. She is a powerhouse who refuses to be a puppet, an independent artist in a world dominated by corporate giants, and a singer who values mystery over the cheap currency of clout. Her 2026 album and the following tour have proven that there is a deep, global hunger for authenticity, but the path ahead remains treacherous and filled with potential traps. Whether she officially takes the throne as the queen of pop or remains a high-status outsider, one thing is certain: she has successfully exposed the fact that you don't need a label's permission to have a voice that moves the world. The coronation is happening in real time, and for the first time in her life, Angelina is the one holding the crown, but heavy is the head that wears it. How long can she maintain this level of independence before the machine finds a way to pull her back in, or will she be the one to finally break the cycle for every artist that follows?